guys, welcome back to my channel. For this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a cupcake plushie. I had actually made the original design of this plush like 10 months ago, I think, but after receiving a comment asking that I post a cupcake plush tutorial, I thought it was time to finally make this video. So many thanks for your comment. I received so many amazing suggestions in my last video, and I appreciate it so much. Please keep the video suggestions coming because I do listen to you guys and your suggestions really help me know what kind of videos you want to see. Anyways, this video was initially only going to be 2 cupcakes and then I went like a little crazy and ended up making 4 more. Honestly, I could have just kept making more and more different kinds of cupcakes. That's just how much fun I had designing these. But I was like, okay, I need to stop now and actually make this video. You can find the pattern for these cupcake plushies in the description box. It is completely free and is actually comprised of 4 sheets. The first page shows the pieces to make the base of the cupcake. The second page has the pieces for the cupcake liner. The third page has the piece for the frosting. And then lastly, the fourth page has all the pieces you'll need to make the accessories or toppings for your cupcake plushie. And then with all that being said, let's get into this tutorial. After you cut out all of your pieces, the first step to making your little cupcake plushies is to take the smaller circle and then the smaller curved piece. I guess that's the best way to describe this piece. And the reason I'm saying to take these smaller versions is because you're also going to be cutting out a larger circle and then a larger curved piece. And these smaller pieces are going to be used to make the cupcake paper liner, and then these larger pieces are going to be used to make the cupcake. Once you have these 2 pieces, what you're going to do is take the curved piece, and as you can see, the curved piece has this side, which is shorter, and then this side, which is longer. And the shorter side, which is up here, is going to be sewn around the perimeter of this circle. So basically what you're going to be doing is sewing this part around this circle. And to do that, you're going to take this piece and you're going to place it right here and make sure you're sewing the shorter end. Like, you're going to want to place it this way. Don't place it this way because then you'll be sewing the longer end onto the circle. You want to make sure you're sewing the shorter end. So make sure it's placed like this. And then once you have them placed on top of each other just like this, you're going to use the back stitch and you're just going to start sewing, and then as you keep sewing, you'll just keep curving this piece around the circle until it's sewn all the way around. I threaded and knotted my needle with some blue thread right here, and I only did this for demonstration purposes so that the stitches are really easily seen. Just in case if these stitches are new to you, I want to make it really easy to learn them. So I am going to be using blue thread in this video, but when you make your plushies, make sure you use a thread color that matches the same color as the material. So really, for example, I should be using pink thread to sew this portion together, but I'm just using the blue thread for demonstration purposes. Also, if you don't know how to thread and knot your needle already, that is completely okay. I actually have a video for it and I'll link it on the screen for you to go check out. To do the back stitch, what you're going to do is take your sewing needle and make your first stitch right here and then pull all the way. Then you're going to make another stitch right over here. Again, pull, and then make a stitch back where you made that first stitch and pull. And then there you go. So to make another stitch, you'll go over here, pull, and then go back where you made that other stitch and pull. And I'll just show you one more time. So you'll make a stitch over here and then back where you made that other stitch. And then you'll just keep doing that all the way around, and you'll just keep curving this piece around the circle. After you finish sewing around the perimeter of the circle, the next thing you're going to do is use the back stitch again, and you're going to sew the two ends of that curved piece together. So you'll just sew right along here using the back stitch. After you finish sewing these pieces together, the next thing you're going to do is take that larger curved piece, so this piece right here, and just like the smaller curved piece, there's going to be a shorter end and then a longer end. And you're going to want to sew the shorter end around this piece. So to do that, you're going to take this piece and you're going to place it right here. So you're going to want to place it this way. Don't place it this way, then you'd be sewing the longer end. Make sure you sew it this way so that the shorter end is going to be sewn around the piece. And you're going to sew them together using the whipping stitch. It really doesn't matter what color thread you're using to sew together this portion of the plush because these stitches are not going to be seen when it's complete, and that's because the cupcake liner that's going to be going around the cupcake is going to be covering these stitches. So it really doesn't matter what color thread you're using, and it also really doesn't matter how messy these stitches are either. But anyway, to do the whipping stitch, what you're going to do is take your sewing needle and make a stitch through both pieces, so just like that. And then you're going to pull, and then to make another stitch you'll just go over here and pull again. And it's really that simple. This stitch is really easy, so you'll just keep doing that all the way around. So I'll show you that a few more times. So you'll make a stitch over here, over here, and then you'll just keep curving this piece around. Just like that. At this point, this is what your plushie should look like. And now what you're going to do is take that larger circle and you're just going to place it right here. And then you're going to use the back stitch again, and you're just going to sew all the way around this circle to attach the circle onto this piece here. And then just a reminder to use a thread color that matches the same color as the material that you're using. After you finish sewing along here, the next thing you're going to do is sew this end and this end over here together. So you're just going to use the back stitch again and sew right along here. And then after you do that, you can just cut off the excess material here and here. Now that this piece is completely sewn together, you're going to take some scissors and you're going to cut a slit right here and then turn the plush inside out. This next step is actually completely optional, but what I'm going to be doing is adding in some weighted stuffing beads into the plush so that it'll help the plush stand up straight. Basically, if you don't add the weighted stuffing beads, the plush will probably fall over very easily. So to give an example with this plush right here, you can see it's standing up straight very easily, and even if you like turn it to its side, it's going to go back to this position. If I didn't have the weighted stuffing beads in it and I turned the plush like this, it would probably just fall right over. But with the weighted stuffing beads, it goes back to this position. So I'm going to be adding them into this plush in this video, but if you don't have them, you most certainly don't need them. You can still make the plush without them. So I'm going to be using Poly Pellets weighted stuffing beads, so these right here. And typically what I'll do is I'll just take a plastic spoon and scoop them out of the bag and then just pour them into the plush. As you can see, I didn't fill up the whole plush with the weighted stuffing beads. I only filled it up to about the top of this pink part. I think that's where I filled it up to. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So about up to here. And then you're going to fill up the rest of the plush with some fiber fill, which is this stuff right here. And I'm going to be using polyfill. After you filled up your plush, the next thing you're going to do is sew this opening closed. And you're not going to see these stitches because the frosting on the top of the cupcake is going to be covering it. So it really doesn't matter what color thread you're using or how messy your stitches are. After you finish sewing together this part of the plush, you can put this over to the side. And now we're going to sew together the ruffled part of the cupcake liner. To make the ruffled look of the cupcake liner, you're going to have to use this piece, which is like a giant O. And it was absolutely crazy to me when I was designing this plush how big this piece needed to be. But once you do the running stitch and pull it and you make that ruffled look, it shrinks down to be that size. It's so crazy to me how big this piece needed to be. So what you're going to do is take that paper piece from the template and you're going to be taping it onto this felt piece right here. You're going to want to center it just like that. And to add on the tape, I'm just going to take some invisible tape and then I'm just going to, it's kind of hard to see, hence why it's called invisible tape. But anyways, so this side is the sticky end, and I'm just gonna roll it on top like that. Can you see what I did? I hope so. So you just take this and then place it here. So I basically rolled it so that it's sticky on this end and on this end. And I'm just gonna add a whole bunch around here to then tape it onto this piece. The purpose of taping on this paper piece is that it's going to be showing you where you need to make your stitches. So you're going to be doing the running stitch along the inner part of this paper piece and then also on the outer part of this paper piece. And you're going to be doing the stitches at the exact same places. So basically you're going to make a stitch here and then here and here, and you want them to be lined up just like this so that when you pull it and it bunches, you want the bunches to look like the cupcake paper liner. So it's going to make those nice bunches like this. If you didn't make the stitches in these exact positions, it wouldn't give that effect. It would probably just look a bit messy. All the ruffles would be all over the place. To get those ruffles to make those straight lines all across the paper liner, you need to make them at the exact same places. So this paper piece is basically just a guide to show you where you need to make your stitches. I hope that made sense. So I'm going to be doing the running stitch along the inner part of the circle first, and then after that's complete, then I'll do it along the outer part of the circle. So first things first, we'll do the inner part of the circle. So I'm just going to take my sewing needle, and then you're going to make a stitch next to one of these lines. It doesn't matter which one. You're going to pull all the way and then come back right next to that knot, pull again, and I'm just going to make a few knots right here because there's nothing more annoying than when you pull the thread at the end to have it bunch and the knot pops through the material and then it completely ruins everything you've just done. So I like to make a few knots in the beginning to prevent that from happening. So I'm just going to do some knots right here. So two's good. And then after you do that, the next thing is to make a stitch right here. So right next to that next line. And then pull. And then your next stitch will be over here next to that other line. And then over here. Over there. Over here. Oh, got caught. But I think you get the point. So you'll just keep doing that all the way across. So all the way back to the beginning. After you finish sewing all the way around the inner part of the circle, you're then going to thread and knot another sewing needle, and then you're going to sew around the exterior part of the circle. To do this, the first stitch you're going to make is going to be in the exact same spot as you had made the stitch for the inner part of the circle. So I'm just going to make my stitch up here, and then again you'll come back through right by the knot, pull, and then again you'll make two knots right here. And then you'll make a stitch over here, up here, over here. Oh, got caught. And then as you can see, the stitches up here are going to be in the same spot as down here. And then you'll just keep doing that all the way around, just like you had done for the inner part of the circle. At this point, you can now remove the paper piece right here. So I'm just gonna take this off. And then move this out of the way. Then you're going to take that plush that you sewed together earlier, so this piece right here, and then you're just going to place it right down in the center of the circle, and I'm lining up that seam right here with those two knots at this end. And then I'm going to take, actually I'll do the inner part first. So I'm taking the sewing needle that is around the inner part of the circle, and I'm going to make a stitch right here, and then I'm going to pull the needle up here like that. Then you're going to take the sewing needle for the outer part of the circle, put the sewing needle like right here, and then again, come up here and pull. This next part can be a little tricky, but what you're going to do is take the thread that is for the inner part of the circle, and then you're going to pull it real tight. And then you can see it starts to bunch up the material, and you're just going to push that material like that. And then you're going to pull it again. And then again, push all those ruffles to the other end. Again, pull the thread. So basically you're just trying to bunch up the material around the whole circle. And then once you have it bunched up, you're then going to pull the thread for the exterior part of the circle. So then just pull that thread, bunch it up. And then again, just pull the ruffles over. Again, just pull. And then you're just going to keep pulling the thread and moving the ruffles until it gets in a good position. Once you're happy with how the ruffles look on your cupcake, what you're going to do is take that thread that's going around the interior of the circle, or now I guess you could say the bottom of the cupcake liner. You're now going to pull that thread so it's nice and tight, and then you're going to take your sewing needle and you're just going to make some knots to hold it in place. And then cut the thread. And then you're going to do the same thing with this other piece right here. So just pull it real tight. And then make a knot. And again, cut the thread. Now that you made the cake and the liner of your cupcake plushie, the next step is to make the frosting. To make the frosting, you're going to need this piece right here, which is basically just a really long piece that's in like a swirl shape. And what we're going to be doing is using the running stitch all the way around this piece. And just a reminder, the running stitch is the same stitch that was used on the paper liner to give it that ruffled look. And we're going to be using the running stitch again so that we can give the frosting a ruffled look. And I really like giving the frosting that ruffled look just because I think it makes it look so much more realistic. But anyways, you're just going to use the running stitch again. So all the way around this piece, pull it real tight to bunch it up, make a knot so that you can keep the ruffled look to be held in place. And then we'll take it from there. Now that the frosting has that ruffled look to it, you're going to take that cupcake that you sewed earlier and you're just going to place this onto the cupcake how you want it to look when the plush is complete. So you're just kind of rolling it around to get an idea of how you want the frosting to look. So I'm just gonna roll this around like that. And then once you get it into the position you like, you're going to pick it up. And then you're just going to do some stitches inside the frosting to hold it in this position. So I'll just do a few stitches right now to show you. So take your needle and then you're going to make them like that. Pull all the way. And then I'll make another stitch over here. Pull. Over here. Kind of like that. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way around to keep this frosting in this position. After you finish sewing together the cupcake with the cupcake liner and the frosting, the next step is to sew together any accessories that you would like to put onto your cupcake plushie. So this can include things such as the little strawberry slice or the cherry, and then other accessories that I made included this little candle, which I also have this little funfetti effect, which I'll show you how to do that as well. And then I also had made the chocolate covered strawberry, the chocolate chip cookie, and then lastly, this little mini pumpkin. And I'll be showing you how to make each of these accessories for your plushies. The first accessory I'm going to show you how to make is that little strawberry slice right there. And to make it, you're going to have to use these two red pieces and then this one white piece. And the first thing you're going to have to do is use some fabric glue and glue this white piece onto one of the red pieces right there. Once the white piece is glued onto this red piece, the next thing you're going to do is use some white embroidery floss or embroidery thread. It really doesn't matter which one you use. And you're just going to make some stitches on this piece to give the strawberry slice a little more detail. And the stitches I'm talking about are these 6 stitches right here. So 3 on this end, 3 over here. And to do that, all you're going to do is take your needle, make a stitch like over here, pull, and then make a stitch over here. And there's one of the little lines. And then you'll just keep doing that over here, here, and then 3 more over there. Then you're going to take these 2 pieces and just place them right on top of each other and then sew them together using the blanket stitch. But before you sew it completely shut, remember to fill it up with some stuffing. When you sew your strawberry slice, make sure to use red thread so that it matches the red material here, but I'm going to be using white thread just for demonstration purposes so that you can easily see the blanket stitches and learn how to do them. So to do the blanket stitch, what you're going to do is pull back this front piece and make your first stitch like this, and then pull all the way. Then you're going to pull that front piece back over and then make a stitch through both pieces of material and come back through where you made that first stitch. Pull, go through this loop right here, and then pull all the way. And then there you go. So to do another stitch, you'll just put your sewing needle right here, pull, go through this loop, and then pull all the way. And then I'll show you one more time. So go through both pieces, pull, go through the loop, pull all the way. And that's how you sew together the little strawberry slice. And the next accessory I'm going to show you how to make is that little cherry right there. And that cherry is definitely the easiest accessory I'm going to show you how to make in this video. And all you have to do is take this little pom-pom right here and then this little green stem, and you're just going to glue this onto the pom-pom. And you're just going to do that by like moving the pom-pom fuzz out of the way. And then you're going to put a little glue on the end of this piece, and then you're just going to stick it right here and glue it on. So there's no sewing needed to make the little cherry. Now that we've made the little strawberry slice and this little cherry, the next accessory that I'm going to show you how to make is that little chocolate chip cookie. So this one right here. This is another pretty easy accessory to make. The only sewing stitch that you're going to have to use is the blanket stitch, which, just to remind you, is the same stitch that was used to make the strawberry slice. And all you're going to have to do is take these two tan circles and you're just going to place them right on top of each other. Use the blanket stitch and just sew all the way around. And then just like with the strawberry slice, remember to fill it up with some stuffing before sewing it completely shut. And then you're just going to use some fabric glue to glue on these little chocolate chip pieces. Also, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am using tacky glue in this video. You most certainly don't need to use this glue if you do not want to. I just wanted to let you know in case you would like to use the same type of glue that I'm using. Now that the little chocolate chip cookie is all done, I'm now going to be showing you how to make the little pumpkin on this cupcake plushie. And to make this little pumpkin, you're going to need this orange circle and then also this little brown rectangle. The first thing you'll have to do is thread a knot your needle with some orange thread and then use the running stitch and sew just around the circle here. And just a reminder, the running stitch is that stitch that was used to make that ruffled up or bunched up look on the paper liner and also on the frosting. After you finish using the running stitch all the way around this circle, what you're going to do is take some stuffing and you're just going to put it right in the middle of the circle and then pull the thread real tight. And then you're going to try to hold it in place and then make a few knots. Then you're going to thread and knot your needle with some orange embroidery thread or embroidery floss. It really doesn't matter which kind that you're using. And then after you do that, you're going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch right through the center of the pumpkin. And then pull all the way. Then you're going to take this string and just like move it up like that. And then make another stitch right through the center and come back through where you made that other stitch. And then pull. And then you're going to want to pull it just like a little bit so it makes like a little bit of an indent right there. You don't want to pull like super tight, but you don't want to not pull at all either. Just pull a little bit to make a little bit of an indent. And then you're just going to keep doing that around the pumpkin. So again, just move this up here and then make a stitch through the center, pull like a little bit, and then again just move this over here. Come back there, pull, and then just do like a few more over here. After you finish sewing together this part of the pumpkin, the next step is to sew together the stem. And to make the stem, you're going to use a brown rectangle piece. As you can see, it's a brown stem right here. But I had just filmed it using the brown thread and it was like really hard to see it on camera. And I was just like, I don't think that's really helpful to teach you guys how to do it if you can barely see it. So I'm going to refilm it, and I cut out this like antique white colored piece just to show this for demonstration purposes. And then I'm also going to be using blue thread here, but when you make yours, use brown thread and brown material to make the stem on your pumpkin. But anyways, with that all being said, what you're going to do is just roll this real tight. So we're just going to do a few stitches to hold this in place like this. And to do that, you're just going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch like that and pull all the way. Then you're going to make a stitch like that. And then you're going to pull. And then to do that again, just make a stitch over here, pull, and again over here. And then now we want to attach this onto the pumpkin. So to do that, you're going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch through the pumpkin. Oh, there's a little knot right there. You see that? Oh, I hate when that happens. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it out. Hopefully that doesn't make any problems. But anyways, then you'll make another stitch over here. You'll pull and then go through the stem like this. Pull. And then again, go through the pumpkin, pull all the way, arrange the stem how you want it to look, pull the thread, and then just make a few knots to hold everything in place. And then you could just cut your thread. So now I'm going to show you guys how to make the chocolate covered strawberry on this plushie right here. The chocolate covered strawberry is probably the most time consuming accessory that I'm showing you how to make in this video. Not that it's necessarily more difficult to make, just that it takes more time to make it. And the pieces you'll need to make the chocolate covered strawberry will include these 3 red pieces. So 1, 2, 3, and then also 3 brown pieces. These 3 right here, and then 2 green pieces for the stem, and then this little white piece for the chocolate drizzle. First step to making the chocolate covered strawberry is to take 2 of those red pieces and then also 2 of those brown pieces, so these right here, and you're just going to place these right on top of the red pieces, so 1 here, and then 1 right there. And then you're going to place these pieces on top of each other like this. And then you're going to sew along here and then just to where the brown piece ends using brown thread, and you're going to use the back stitch, which is the same stitch that was used in the beginning of this video when you were sewing together the cupcake and the bottom of the paper liner. It was like the first stitch that I'd shown in this video. Once these pieces are all sewn together, next you're going to take that other red and brown piece, and again you're just going to place them right on top of each other like this, and then you're going to place it here, and then again you're going to use brown thread and sew this part together and then this part together. This is what your chocolate covered strawberry should look like at this point. And now what you're going to do is sew together 2 of these sides. So you're going to sew up here and then down here. And you're going to leave one of these sides open. And you're going to sew this together using red thread. Then you're going to turn the plush inside out and fill it with stuffing. And now you're going to want to use the ladder stitch to sew this open and closed, and make sure you use red thread when doing this so it matches the color of the material. I'm just going to be using white thread for demonstration purposes because I haven't taught the ladder stitch in this video yet. So anyway, to do the ladder stitch, what you're going to do is make a stitch like this, pull, and then make a stitch over here like that, pull, and then make a stitch over here, and pull, over there, over here. You'll just keep doing that until you get to the end. And then you'll pull it real tight, like that. And a little tip for your ladder stitch is to take a wooden dowel or something similar to it. I just got this in the bag of stuffing that I bought, so I just have it on hand. But I just kind of push the material that's in between each of the stitches in. And then pull the thread again. And I just find that helps hide the stitches a bit better. Then you're going to take these two green pieces and just place them right on top of each other. And then using green thread, you're going to use the blanket stitch and just sew them together. So just sew all the way around. After these two green pieces are sewn together like this, what you're going to do is fold one of the leaves in half. And then take your sewing needle and make a stitch like that. Just kind of bunching the leaf up to make like that look. And then you'll do the same thing for the other two. Let's just make a stitch over here. And then one more over there. Just like that. And then I'm just going to make a few knots over here just to hold it in place. So now that these two pieces are done, you can attach them together. And to do that, you're just going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch through the strawberry. And then you'll make a stitch through the leaves. Then you'll just pull real tight. And then I'll just do that one more time. So again, through the strawberry. And then again through the leaves. And you can make as many stitches as you want back and forth to just attach these two pieces together. And then you'll make a few knots just to hold it in place. And then the last step is to glue the chocolate drizzle right here onto the strawberry. And I like to glue it on the side that's opposite of where I did the ladder stitch. So that's where I did the ladder stitch, and I want to glue it right on the opposite side. And I'm just doing that because my ladder stitches are always a bit messy, so I like to hide that on the back. So that's how you make the chocolate covered strawberry. And the last accessory to show you guys how to make is the little candlestick on the funfetti cupcake. So for this one, all you're gonna need is a rectangle piece, two yellow pieces, and then also this little orange piece. And then you're gonna need some kind of ribbon to wrap around the candle. The first step to making the candlestick is to use the exact same steps that were used to make the stem on the pumpkin plushie right here with this rectangle piece. So now we're going to wrap the ribbon around the candlestick. And to do that, you're just going to take your ribbon, place it right there, and then take your thread, and then your needle, and then just make a knot down here, attaching the ribbon onto the candlestick. Like that. And then you can actually cut this part of the thread off. And then now what you're gonna do is use some glue and just glue the ribbon around the candlestick. And then once the ribbon is wrapped around the candlestick, you're just going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch up here. To hold the ribbon in place, and then you can just make a few knots. And then cut the thread. Then to make the little flame on the candlestick, you're just going to take these two yellow pieces and sew them together using the blanket stitch. And then you're just going to glue this little orange piece right there. And then the last step is to just glue the flame right on top of the candle. So you're just going to take the glue and put a little bit right there. And then attach it on the top of the candle. And then you're just going to have to let it dry. So that's how you make your little candle. And then the next thing I want to show you is how to make that funfetti look on this cupcake. So all I did was I cut out these little pieces of felt in a bunch of different colors. As you can see, there's like blue, green, pink, and yellow. I think that's all the colors that I had used. And I just cut these little pieces out. And then I took a pin and I just kind of like picked at it a little bit just to make it look a little more disheveled. Kind of like that. And then I just glued it on with some of the tacky glue. Now that I've showed you how to make all these accessories, you can now add them onto the plush. Now, if you do want to add that like chocolate drizzle onto your plushie, so that's this right here, you might want to glue that on before you add on your little accessory. You could just use some fabric glue or tacky glue or whatever type of glue you want and just put some on that piece and glue it down, and then you can attach the accessory on right after. And to attach the accessory, all you're going to do is take your sewing needle, take the accessory that you want to add onto your plush, make a stitch through it, and then make a stitch right through the frosting. And then pull all the way. And then there you go. So if you would like to add beads as sprinkles onto your plushie, now is the time you would do it. So as you can see, I added some beads on those plushies, and then I also added some beads on this plushie right here. And to do it, it's really simple. So I'm just going to take some beads right here, and all you're going to do is take your sewing needle, make a stitch where you want the bead to be, pull, take one of the beads and put it through the sewing needle, and then make a stitch like right around here, and then pull. And then there you go. The bead is now attached onto the frosting. And then finally, the last step to making your little cupcake plushie, once you add all the accessories that you would like onto the frosting, you're going to take this piece and you're just going to sew it onto the cupcake. So you're just going to place it right here, and then you're going to use the ladder stitch and just sew all the way around. So to do that, you're just going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch through the cupcake, like that. Pull. Make a stitch through the frosting. Pull. Make a stitch through the cupcake again. Pull. Through the frosting. Pull. And then I think you get the point, and you just keep doing that all the way around and then make a few knots at the end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to go check out my channel. It's filled with so many other plushie tutorials just like this one. And anyways, hope you all have a great rest of the day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next one.